Hey, 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 it's Yassine Shar with our second interview in the series highlighting some of the superstars in our industry. And today I have the pleasure of talking to Blair Halver on the show. Blair, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
I'm excited for this conversation. Blair is a real estate expert with specialty in creative financing and alternative deal structures. He does a lot of marketing as well. He's a savvy direct response marketer. And recently, he was given the Two Comma Club Award at Funnel Hacking Live for generating over $1 million from one single funnel. So he's one of the few in the industry who got the award. So Blair, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Sweet. So Blair, before our call, I was like snooping around, digging like, hey, where's this $1 million funnel? Because as I said, as we were talking before we started here, like I know you, from the days of like, you had like DealBot, which is a lead gen agency. And it's like, I went to the website, but there's nothing happening there. So it's like, where's this funnel? So then I, after about an hour of digging, it's like, maybe I found it. I don't know, but you've got some very interesting stuff going on. And I would say very unique. I came across an offer that's very unique, and the funnel that you've got built, like how you do the pre-selling and all of that, it's very interesting stuff. And I don't see a lot of people doing it in this space. So no wonder why you made it to the Two Comma Club. And congratulations, by the way.
Thanks. I thought you were about to call it the Cool Kids Club.
It is the cool kids club because not a lot of people talk big game,
Yeah.
but very few people actually do it. So you're not just like a guru, but you're actually in the trenches every day doing deals and helping your students. And I think that's the great combination that you bring to the table and which sets you apart. So why don't you give us a quick overview of your business model and what kind of offers you've got running right now on your real estate coaching side or service?
Yeah. So about the past little over a year now, we've been selling our main program is just a $5,800 coaching program, which is essentially pre-recorded training materials that they get, lifetime access to that, and then private Facebook group, and then weekly group Q&A calls. This is the basic Sam Ovens up-level model, if you're familiar with that. And
of course, yep.
so a webinar to strategy session, sell them into the program, that sort of thing. We started out doing just exactly what Sam does. We modeled him. I went through his up-level course, and that got us started. But then what we found is you got to tweak that for whatever industry you're in, especially real estate investing. So, we tweaked his model to make it work better for what we were doing. And the biggest thing was for us was adding more friction to the funnel before they get on the phone call.
Interesting.
Present. Yeah. And most other people, they want to go the other way. They want to say, let me just get on the phone with as many people as I can. The problem we were running into is you burn out your sales team talking to people who can't afford your thing and don't even know what it is and all that sort of thing,
Actually, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, digging around, I didn't see a lot of opt-ins, where you just collect an email. Almost always the call to action on the webinar you do, but down the funnel, it's always an application. So I was wondering why you don't push for getting that opt-in. So one of the funnels that I found that you've got running for quite a while now, it's a multi-page pre-sale, and there is no opt-in. So there's application after 7, and we'll get to talk about this funnel in particular. So that's interesting. So why don't we talk about the offer a little bit? I want to start with the offer and then go into the funnel and the messaging, and if that's okay with you.
Yeah. And just know that I think just like anybody else out there who's doing this business, you're pivoting all the time. This is all just multiple guess test, right?
Absolutely.
We're just figuring it out as we go.
And you test.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that being said, all this stuff is in flux, but I'll share with you what's been working for us the most reliably And that offer is what I just described, is that coaching program. Essentially, we positioned it as a business in a box. Here, just model exactly what I'm doing in my own house business.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
then go ahead.
no, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, model exactly what I'm doing and you'll get the same results I'm getting, which is, a few deals a month, working 5 hours a week. I got everything delegated, automated, all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's the main promise you lead with in your offer, is that you could do virtual wholesaling, right? In obscure markets, wherever the deals are, you're not limited to the geo or the location you're in. And you also, so there's a couple of claims, interesting claims in there, right? So you tie up the virtual wholesaling with like delegating. And what I found most interesting about your offer is you give them the leads. So tell me a little bit about that.
So that actually is our new offer that we've just been testing, maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks. And it's actually, we kind of look at it as version 2 of our main program. So that one's a little different. You mentioned that multi-page pre-sale site. That's a relatively new funnel. That's not our webinar to strategy call, but but the hook in the webinar thing was like how to do 5 deals a month in 5 hours a week, that sort of thing. Like that was the big promise, right? Now with the multi-page pre-sale site that you see, the hook is basically how do we do not just virtual wholesaling. People have heard of that, and our buddy Chris Chico, I feel like he's the one who coined that term, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, virtual wholesaling is when you pick like 1 or 2 select remote markets and you just do wholesaling into those specific markets. What we're doing now is basically like nationwide wholesaling. So we just blanket, it's basically nationwide, but we target certain states where the laws are more favorable for what we want to do.
Interesting.
So you get deals from anywhere. Now the upside to that is, your cost per deal goes way down. But the flip side, the downside is you got to be ready to do a deal wherever the deal comes up. So it's a little bit different model.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you do that, because you said people are paying 5,800. Are you factoring in the marketing cost into that, or is that like excluded?
Yeah. So the new offer that you're talking about is actually 7,500, and it's a 90-day program. We call it our 90-day apprentice.
Okay.
So we send them 90 leads in 90 days. We, guide them and coach them and train them how to work those deals all the way through to payday.
Okay.
And we'll even guarantee that they get a deal, right? So there's a deal guarantee.
So that's one of the other aspects I want to dig into.
Yeah.
But so you give them the leads and you're paying for the marketing?
Yeah.
From the 7,500?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how's it working out so far?
Great. Actually, this version of our program, we're getting better client results, more profitability for us. Yeah, we like it a lot better.
More profitability. Are you sharing in the deal, or are you keeping everything for them?
So we tell them up front, this is a deal split scenario. So any deals that you get from our leads, we get half. However, we're going to refund your $7,500 fee out of our half of the deals you do before we take any of those deals.
Beautiful. Makes total sense.
So there's like deal guarantee, risk reversal, and, we don't call it a deposit. We call it a fee, but, they might look at it like it's a $7,500 deposit that they're going to get back once they start doing deals. So it kind of gets over another little hurdle in their mind. But we're actually not counting on any of the profits from the deals. Like that'll be gravy to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We want to just make sure we're going in that, the client gets success, number one, and number two, we can be profitable even if they never do a deal. You know what I mean?
Okay, because your cost per lead that you're generating, you've got probably like a dialed in process where your cost per lead is
it's relatively low. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Makes. And what was so why did you iterate on your offer and add like, we'll give you the leads? I mean, maybe I'm asking a very obvious question here, But what was that? What triggered this
Yeah.
iteration?
So with the first version of our offer, which we refer to as Pipeline, that was the $5,800 coaching program or whatever. We would basically just show them how to do everything themselves, and then we would rely on them to go do it. What we found is as with any other, coaching program or how-to training program, there's a small percentage of people who are actually going to go do the work and actually get results. But most people are just never going to do anything with it. Right. So what my partner, Jeff, and I were thinking is, okay, how could we increase client results? We feel like that should be philosophically, our goal should be to get them results. And if we can do that, it makes a better product, which is then easier to sell into the marketplace and we get more sales. Right. So, but it starts with making a better product. And in our mind, the best product is the one that actually gets them results, not necessarily teaches them the most, but gets them results, right? So what we ended up doing, we took our old pipeline system, and we still sell that every now and then. And that's like the whole full-on business in a box. I use the metaphor of this. This is like the Mac Daddy Cadillac over here with all the bells and whistles. This new program we call Apprentice is like the stripped down drag racer. Like we just do exactly the things that they need to do to move the needle and get deals. And we're going to give you the leads to do it. So you got no excuse to not get results. But let's say you even do everything we tell you to do, even if you just do it half as well as you're supposed to, and you still don't get a deal, we'll literally assign one of our deals over to you. That's our deal guarantee.
Beautiful. And can you just run quick through the deliverables of the program? So you sell it for 7,500, you give them 90 leads, it's for 90 days. What else are they getting?
Yeah. So weekly calls with our acquisitions team. We have our own in-house acquisitions for our
So you're
own
not doing
business.
the calls yourself. You've got your team doing it.
That's the plan. I'm still doing them now because I want to make sure these people, like I said, this is a relatively new program.
Beta. Yep.
Yeah. Beta program. So I'm like fully invested in this thing, but yeah, the plan is and that's the way we pitch it, is like, look, you're going to be working directly with our in-house acquisitions team. They're the ones doing the deals. Like I've delegated that a long time ago. Right. So you want to talk to them anyway, and I'll come on and, I'll be the guru if you want, but that sort of thing. So they get those weekly calls, the private Facebook group, and then Voxer support. If they got, something urgent, they can reach out to our acquisitions team. And let's say they need, some help with a seller on the phone, because all our deals are done by phone with these sellers. We will actually have our acquisitions team get on the phone with their seller, with them on the phone. We can't do it for them, but we can do it with them, and we can talk to their seller to help get the deal across the finish line.
Killer. Yeah. Wow. This is beautiful. So you got the leads, weekly support, group coaching call, the Facebook group, and you've got training, of course, the membership site. Yeah. And you've got the Voxer for emergencies, and for emergencies. So how do you set the boundaries? Like, so they don't feel like you're their new friend, and they're like texting you like all the day, and SMS terrorism, right? Just like texting you all the time. So how do you draw the boundaries?
Yeah. So I try to encourage people in the program, clients in the program, to get support first during the Q&A calls, the weekly calls. That's the best place to get support. And this is just how I explain it to them. The second best is the Facebook group. Third best, if it's something urgent or super private, is Voxer, right? But sometimes clients will ask me questions by Voxer, and I'll just have them go post it in the Facebook group. The reason being is because if I just answer their question there, they're the only ones getting the benefit of that question. I want the whole group to benefit of any, thing that I'm saying, right? So that everybody can benefit, not just this one person. So I just encourage them to go post it in the Facebook group.
Makes total sense. And so is this the offer that you got like the award for? Or like it's a new iteration, but is this like the same core offer that you've been selling?
No, this is a new one. This will be my, hopefully this time next year I'll have a third award on the wall for this new one.
Look at those, right? You've got two on there. So the offer that made you a million?
That's the $5,800 pipeline program, the business in a box thing.
Okay, so but
Yeah.
you've upgraded this to what is it right now, the apprentice,
Apprentice, yeah.
and you think this is going to just like get you multiply those earnings?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And partly because, and the reason I think that is because, like, you know, when our sales guys get on the phone, like somebody books a strategy call with us under the old funnel and they're thinking pipeline program. Then they get on the phone and one of our sales guys will say, you know, yeah, we got the pipeline program, but we also got this new thing. And man, the majority of the time, the people want this new thing more than the old thing. You see what I mean?
Beautiful. It
Yeah.
makes sense. It's
Yeah.
really an irresistible offer. So before I move on to the funnel, one other thing that's really unique about your offer is your guarantee. So tell me a little bit about that. What is the guarantee, and how did you like come up with this guarantee? And I mean, you know, it's a big risk to say the least. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think the deal guarantee, it just came out of my realization that we need to have, you know, like you just said, an irresistible offer, like something that like they'd just be crazy not to go for it, right? And of course, as you know, one of the biggest elements to any of those irresistible offers is the risk reversal, right? So I was thinking, okay, how can we do this? Well, meanwhile, while I'm thinking about all this, I'm looking over at our house business. We got, I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging here, but we got deals coming out of our ears over here, right?
Okay.
So if ever we had to fulfill on the guarantee, we'd just pull a deal out of our inventory and assign it over to them. You see what I mean? So to us, it wasn't a big risk because we're still doing deals ourselves. You know what I mean?
So is this a new guarantee? Was it part of the old offer?
It's new.
Okay. Have you had to? I mean, you said that you've been only running this for 6 to 8 weeks, so you probably haven't had the you know, like you hadn't had to do or to deliver on to fulfill on that guarantee.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and by the way, just can you reiterate what is the guarantee?
Yeah. So in the agreement, the guarantee is if you have made a good faith effort to do everything we show you how to do. In other words, you're engaging the leads that we send to you and using the scripts and all that sort of thing. If you don't get at least one deal signed up, either a purchase contract or a lease option signed up with a seller, we will assign one of our deals over to you as if you had gotten it yourself. Now, to qualify for that, they have to show evidence that they talked to at least 45 of the 90 seller leads that we sent to them. And they have to show handwritten notes on the lead sheets that we give them, which has the script and everything else, right? So they got to show they did the work. And if they did the work and they don't get a deal, it's either because we failed or they just suck so bad at this, they should not be in this business at all. But here's a parting gift. Here's one of our deals that you can go run with.
Is that mentioned in the contract? Like those specifics? Okay, because because a lot of times, right? They do
it's a conditional guarantee, you know,
and you need to like fight it out, right? Especially if you're using a merchant account, and you know it might bring some of these issues. Have you guys like have contingency in place for these kind of situations?
Yeah. So the contract actually gives us an option to either assign a deal over to them or just refund their initial fee.
Okay. Makes sense.
And I am imagining that if we ever got to that point and we didn't have a deal and we didn't want to refund them for whatever reason, we could do some other kind of workout with them where we just bonus them some other training or something, or lead service for a few months for free. And then they sign a thing that, you know, releases us or whatever.
Makes sense. I'm in a coffee shop. Is the noise too loud?
It's all right. It's good that you're muting yourself though, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So
one thing you just said, because you're asking these questions like, you know, what if this happens? How are you doing this? How are you able to fulfill on that? You know, to me, that tells me I'm on the right track. Because when you look at like, okay, what kind of risk reversal or guarantee can you make? The best kind that you can make is one that makes your competitors, not saying you're a competitor, but that makes other people in the business say, oh man, how the crap are they doing that?
Totally.
right? Like that's what
So
you
our
know you're on the right
guarantee,
track.
so the offers we've got running right now, and we've got like, anywhere from $2,000 to $60,000 offers running right now.
Mhm.
Our guarantees will keep working with you until you get the
Yeah.
promised result.
So that
Even,
was our guarantee on our first program. That was how we did
oh,
that.
okay. Did you
Mhm.
notice uptick in, so you don't have to share specific numbers, but with this new offer, are you seeing like higher conversions, more people saying yes on these strategy sessions than before?
Yes.
Like significant jump, like 20, 50, 100% jump?
I mean, I don't have the numbers, but it's just a lot easier sale than it was
Okay.
before. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. It's
Yeah.
7,500. Are you offering payment plans?
We do have a payment plan. I'm not sure that we've actually put anybody into it yet.
Okay. So people
And
are paying 7,500 upfront. Okay.
yeah, and you know, my partner and I, we go back and forth on that, and it's kind of like, okay, on one side, okay, if we offer the payment plan, we get more people in, we can help more people, and you know, make more money. But the other side of that is, look, if they can't put 7,500 together up front, it's kind of a litmus test to tell whether, you know, how committed they are, how resourceful they are, not just do they have the money. But like I signed up a guy a couple nights ago, he didn't have the money for the full 7,500. I did not offer the payment plan, and he went and found the money. Like he just went and got a 0% credit card. He's like, all
Wow.
right, let's do this. Like, so they'll find the money if they really want to do it. And then they're like, then they're at that point where they've passed the point of no return in
Yep.
their own mind. And that's what it took for me to get started in the business. So
Mm.
it sounds ruthless to say I want to do that to them, but I know that's what they need. You know what I mean?
Makes total sense. And do you have like a criteria you qualify for, or do you accept like, I mean, you've got like an open, qualification, right? You don't hard
Yeah.
qualify people because like, so for some of our programs that we've got running, we tend to target more people who have done at least one deal. So, and a lot of our offers, especially the higher ticket ones, because we guarantee result, not necessarily guarantee, but we keep working with you until you get the result. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of risk on us, right? So it's very important for us that you have experience and someone who closed the deal, like they've went through so many things to get that deal versus someone who hasn't closed like a
Right.
first deal, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the qualification you look for in the applicants.
Yeah. You know, for a long time, we thought that we really only want to be selling people into the program who have done at least one deal or a few deals, or they've got some experience, like you were just saying. But then we started looking at, okay, who are our best clients? Who are the majority of our clients in the program? And the majority was people who have never done any deals. Yet we can help them get to the point where they do that first deal.
Wow.
And, you know, one way you could look at it is, you know, you want to sell transformation, and the biggest transformation you can give somebody is that first deal. I mean, you probably remember your first
Yeah,
deal.
oh,
I remember my
absolutely.
first deal. You
From a
know, it was
bandit
like life
sign,
changing, right?
uh,
Yeah.
I can give you all the details. Oklahoma City,
Yeah.
we made literally $800 on it.
Yeah. 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 But it was life changing money, wasn't it? I
It is,
mean,
it is, it is.
yeah.
The hope it gives you, it just opens up the door for you. It's like, okay, there is another world out there. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of possibilities. It opens up possibilities for you. So I love it. Is there any other questions about the offer I should have asked you about, but I didn't, or I haven't?
About this new apprentice offer, I just think, uh, I think 7,500 is too cheap. We'll probably go to 9,800 sometime soon. And I was talking to another probably mutual friend of ours, Joe McCall, and he was like, yeah, dude, you need to go up to 10 grand.
Makes
Like we're
sense.
kind of underselling it right now. So that's the
Makes
plan anyway.
makes
But
sense.
you
Makes
know,
sense. Do you have an offer after they finish the apprentice program?
yeah, that was next thing I was going to mention is the way we set it up. And we just tell them this on the, you know, the offer right up front. It's like, after this 90 days, you got two options. One, you know, and by the way, our goal with this program is to teach you how to fish. So at the end of the 90 days, you should be able to go out on your own if you want to. Or you can stick around with us. We'll just set you up on a $2,000 a month rebill. We'll keep sending you leads at the same rate we have been, and we'll keep coaching
Wow.
you and guiding you, but the deal split goes away.
Beautiful. I mean, it's an easy yes, right? Ongoing.
Yeah.
Because you're creating stick, right? When you're giving them the leads, you're creating dependency. I hope it's not coming across like manipulative. It's very smart. And
Yeah.
you're saving them the trouble of like testing marketing, buying lists,
Right.
scraping, skip tracing, testing marketing. There's so much that goes into
Yeah.
marketing, especially in the competitive market that we're in.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. I love it. And do you have a front end offer, or is this the front end offer?
This is basically the front end. We've just now started testing out what we would call a low ticket, a 997 kind of thing. But
What is
I
it,
think
like
we've
a
sold one
course?
so far.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a course. It's like
Okay.
a scaled down version, beginner course kind of thing.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so beautiful. So I love this. So let's dig into the funnel.
Hmm.
When I was digging, like snooping around and looking at what you're doing, um, you had like over 100 ads, I think. When I like went into the Facebook library, it's like this guy
Yeah.
is all out. He's got like 100 ads, and you've got one
Yeah.
ad. You've got one ad that's been running since February 2019, so the funnel must be working.
Yeah.
And when I clicked on that link, it took me to a pre-sale website. So basically, you want to think of it as a long form sales letter, but it's split into multiple pages. So
Yeah.
with every click, you're getting that micro commitment, which it reminds me of Andre Chaperone.
That's who taught
Um,
me.
oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So they click on the ad, they land on a page which looks like an article or
Hmm.
editorial, and then it's like maybe two three pages, and then they click next, and then they go to the next page, and then there's more
Yeah.
content, and they click next, and like there's 7 pages until there's like a call to action, and you're not collecting the email up front, right? So you're doing a lot of pre-qualifications. So instead of me, why don't
Yeah.
I let the expert talk about it?
Yeah.
So walk me through what you've got going on with your pre-sale funnel, and why did you decide to go from $1 million webinar funnel to a strategy session? So explain to us, can you
Yeah.
please walk us through your old funnel
Yeah.
that made you $1 million and the new iteration, and why did you decide to make that change?
Yeah. So the old funnel was, like I said before, the typical webinar to strategy session, but we kind of modified it. And the way we modified it was, instead of sending people directly to a webinar registration page, we'd send them to actual medium.com article. And that's the ad that's been running the longest. And the article is basically why I don't do wholesaling and rehabbing. Right. So it's like different. It's, it's got a good hook, or just, pattern interrupt, I guess I should say, is probably the better term. They go to that pre-frame article before they get to the webinar registration. So that helps. And then between the webinar, which at the end of the webinar is a call to action to a strategy call, between that webinar and the actual application and scheduler is what we call our pre-call video. And it's a 35-minute video, which pre-sells our offer. Number one, doesn't tell the price though, but it anchors a higher price than what it is. And it just explains the whole offer. That's our old pipeline program. And I just go like very kind of matter of fact, I don't know what the right word is, but just everyday guy, like not slick at all, just showing you, here's what I'm doing in my business. Now here's what our offer looks like. Here's exactly what you see and get and all that sort
Right,
of thing.
average Joe. Yeah,
Yeah. Average
beautiful.
Joe. Yeah.
So just to recap, because sometimes my brain doesn't process as fast
Yeah.
as yours, so you kind of need to dumb it down for me a little bit. So
Yeah.
you've got a Facebook ad going
Yeah.
to a medium.com article. So it's an independent website where people publish blog posts.
Yeah.
You've got no control of that website other than publishing an article. And that in that article, you have a call to action to register for a webinar. So Facebook ad, Medium article, it sends them to a landing page where they register for a webinar. Is it on-demand webinar, or is it like, okay, on-demand webinar, and then from the on-demand webinar, you take them to an application page
Yeah.
where you have a 30-minute pre-sale video
Mm-hmm.
to kind of anchor and pre-frame them and overcome some objections ahead of time, and to
Yeah.
make your salespeople make their lives easier, and then they schedule an appointment with your people, and then they close them. Is it a two-step close or two-call close, or is it one-call close? Do you do qualification first and then you hand it off to a closer, or do you do it all in one step?
Yeah, so it's all one step, but the majority of the time it takes more than one phone call with the person.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's technically it would be a one-step sales
Beautiful.
process then. Yeah.
And to dial in this webinar funnel to a strategy and to get it producing $1 million, what were some of your biggest learning or biggest lessons iterating on this funnel and getting it to work and produce? I'm assuming it made you, hopefully it made you some money. I know Facebook ads are only getting more expensive. So if you could share the top 3 lessons learned testing and rolling out a webinar, cold traffic, high ticket cold traffic webinar funnel to a strategy session.
Yeah. Let's see. The first big lesson I learned was that it's better or more effective to, let me back up. Your conversion rate, you have more effect on your conversion rate on the sales call by all the marketing you do before the sales call, as opposed to the salesperson's skills on the phone.
The sale happened before the call, not on the call.
Pretty much.
More or less.
Yeah. So it's more important to drive qualified prospects into that call than it is to have some hardcore closer on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Why is that? Wouldn't you rather get more leads and have, and you got a sales guy, like a superstar, close them? And
maybe we could. And we tried a much shorter funnel at one point. Like they would just opt in for a free lead magnet and then we invite them to a call. That sucked. I mean, that was horrible. Like I was hating life when we were doing that. I'm not even doing the calls. I still was hating life because the sales guys were
complaining. Shitty leads.
Yeah. I mean, we got a great team. Like they weren't complaining, but they were struggling, and not for any lack of skill on their part, but it's when you get on the phone with somebody who has no frame, no context. Yeah, all that stuff. So I also reached out to, and I don't actually know him that well. I just follow him online, but Ryan Stewman,
of course,
hardcore closer guy.
Yep.
And I just remember this because he had a Ask Me Anything on Facebook. And I just said, what's more important, qualified prospects on the phone or sales skills? He said, if you want shitball clients, your sales skills are more important. If you want good clients, it's your qualified prospects.
Huge lesson. So lesson number 1, pre-sell, and pre-sell more because you have a really long funnel over there with a lot of drop off. I'm not going to even ask you your cost per application, but it's probably not less than $200-300 per application.
That's about right.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So what is lesson number 2?
Oh man, I had one earlier. I'm trying to think of what it was.
So why the Medium article? Why the Medium article? Why not send them to your website or deliver the article in the Facebook ad itself? So why do you send them to medium.com? Weird. And especially that you lose tracking because it's a third-party website. You don't have tracking on that site. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. And I've talked to other marketers and they're like, man, why would you do that? You can't pixel them if they hit your page and all that stuff. And yeah, exactly what you were just saying. And I thought through all that. The reason we keep it now is because it's working. And it's don't friggin' touch the thing that's working. All right. Don't mess with it. So that's why we keep it now. But in the beginning, the idea was maybe I can create a little more credibility and or trust or lower their defenses a little bit by being on a third-party site that maybe they would recognize, medium.com. Maybe they wouldn't. Most people that we talk to, they don't read on medium.com all the time, but it's a very legitimate looking website, right? It's a real deal website. It's not just some guy's blog, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that was the reason. And I mean, that was just taking me back to, you ever listen to Frank Kern way back in the day? He talked about the triangle of trust. And it was basically, his whole thing was, you know, when you email somebody, your call to action, don't say, here, go click on my sales page. Say, here, go click on my new blog post, which is, you know, advertorial essentially with a call to action at the end. So I don't know, that kind of played into it as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Any other lessons learned on the Facebook ad side, on the show up rate? Because I know there's a big drop off between someone who registers for the webinar or for the strategy session. So have you guys done any split testing on, you know, on that?
You know, we didn't have the pre-call video at first and the guys were struggling. Oh, I remember the other thing I was going to tell you, one of the big lessons was that, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. You know, Todd Brown talks about like the big marketing idea. Right?
Yep.
I think it's your big idea that makes the biggest difference in how you do in your business.
Interesting.
And if you ever, like, if you read into his stuff, and he's up with the Agora guys and they all talk about this, and Andre talks about this, and that big idea, and I think it's Joe Schriefer, somebody down at Agora.
The copy chief.
Yeah. He's like, you need an idea that's so good that it doesn't matter what the copy is.
Attention arresting.
Yeah. And so for us, it was that hook of basically going against the norm right now. Everybody, like, the big thing right now is wholesale. Controversial. Yeah. Let's sell against that. And that was something Rich Schefrin, I heard him say. He's like, whatever is like your hot offer out in your marketplace right now, if you just sell against that,
make an enemy out of it, or Blair Warren, right? You know, the seven sentence persuasion, I guess, is right. Throw rocks at their enemies, right? That's how you develop rapport. Persuade someone is you blame some, create a common enemy and get on their side of the table.
That's right.
And put the onus on something else outside of them, and then say, hey, you suck, you don't know how to sell, you don't know how to market, right? That's why you're not getting deals. Well, no, it's because of the model. And it just opens them up. And especially if you're the first one to bring this concept forward, now you've gained their full attention, and you got all this authority and credibility, and they're just going to listen to you, right? So you created kind of like your own pond or your own
your blue ocean
influence, right? Yeah, beautiful. I love that. So if it's working well, why the heck did you change it? If you don't mind me asking, I mean, $1 million, is not like some small change. So why did you even change it?
Well, I believe that nothing is gonna keep working forever. So you got to be ready for when that day comes, when this this particular webinar, the strategy call, whatever, when that stops working, you got to have the next thing ready to go. So the multi-page pre-sale site, we've only been running that maybe a month, right? So it's fairly new, but it's already producing return on ad spend for us. Primarily, I think, because the offer is so good. Like the apprentice offer, it's a killer offer, right? So, we could probably sell that offer through webinar, multi-page pre-sale, YouTube channel, whatever. It all leads back to that offer. I think, here I am quoting Frank Kern again, but I think he was quoting Dan Kennedy when he said, "It's the offer, stupid." Like, you just like, it's all about the offer, right? So if you got a good offer, sell it whichever way you want. But so I'm always testing out new funnels, new ways to get people and qualified prospects onto the phone and that sort of thing. I got Andre Chaperone's course, Sphere of Influence. That's where the multi-page pre-sale site comes from. And one thing I realized about myself is that I feel like, and I would never call myself a copywriter, but I prefer writing to making webinars and videos. I don't do a whole lot of videos and, all that stuff. I prefer sitting down and writing because I can formulate my thoughts better. And I feel like I can communicate better that way. So if that's my strength, I want to build on that strength. And one way to do that for a person who likes writing is that multi-page pre-sale site.
Beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
And can you just walk us through real quick the whole funnel? Maybe I'll do an article if it's okay with you, just breaking down
Sure.
the funnel you've got. It's such an interesting model. Could you just walk us real quick through that funnel?
For the multi-page pre-sale?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So they hit the landing page and it looks like, and so now I use ClickFunnels, right? And I've been using ClickFunnels, but what I mean is instead of using medium.com now, I just built out a site in ClickFunnels that just looks exactly like medium.com essentially, right? But it's my own brand and it's my own site, so I can track it all, right? So then they get to the landing page, it tells them, basically like sells them on the idea of our new method. You're talking about like the new model and
The flip skimming method.
Yes, right. So we come up with our own proprietary terminology.
Unique mechanism.
Yes, your unique mechanism. And then under that unique mechanism, you've got all these new, give them a new dictionary, right? And so we have like, all our different proprietary terms like the white coat effect or the reverse offer strategy or the
transactional engineering
marketing process, all that stuff, right? So, but they hit that lander and then they scroll down to the end and it's like, look, if you want all these benefits that I just laid out to you and you want to avoid all the pains that I know you're going through, there's 3 key shifts you need to make. Keep reading, find out shift number 1, and they click and they go to the next page. So now they're reading about shift number 1. At the end of that page is like, click here to keep reading shift number 2, shift number 3. So it's almost like you're going through a webinar, except you're reading through it and you're clicking through it, right?
Beautiful.
And you can measure engagement just the same as you can on a webinar, because you can track who hits what page, obviously.
Yeah,
right.
And it's easier to iterate, to change, like see where they drop off and update the copy.
Yes, that's the big thing for me. If I go make a video or a webinar, is like I got to go reshoot the whole thing if I want to change.
If it's not modular, typically you can just change the lead or the offer. It's like you break it down into 3 sections: the webinar lead, and the actual content, and then the close. So it's very hard to test it. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes
exactly.
Sense. Mm-hmm.
So at the end of this 4-page sequence, so we're testing out a few different ways to go after that. One of them is, click here to see how we work with clients, helping them implement the flip skimming method. And then they read a lander, which is basically showing them like how we work with clients. It doesn't tell them pricing or anything, but it says we send leads, we work with you, we guarantee you get a deal. Fill out this application and we'll be in touch by SMS text message.
Basically, you give them the entire offer, but the pricing. So they've got no objection by the time, very few objections. They know what they're getting, no question, right? So it's a 10-minute close probably. If they closed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what we then do once they fill out the application, that comes into, we use a web app called TextLine, and that helps us do SMS text with them. And we just basically do pre-qualification via text message, and it's manual.
Interesting.
Yeah. This is new. This is what we're testing out now. I don't know if we're going to keep doing this. So
we close anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000 sale over email, live chat, and SMS. So you're on the right track, I guess.
Yeah. It sounds like I'm late to the party.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. I want to talk about right message at right time when we finish talking about this particular funnel, because I think that's very important. But yeah, we pre-qualify them, and then if they're motivated to get their business up and running, and they got money for our thing, then we'll have them schedule a call and get on the phone with the sales guys. If they're motivated but they don't have money, then we send them to an automated downsell product. That's that $997 course that I was telling you about. We just started doing that. But I see a lot of promise for that, even if all it ever does was just pay for our ad spend. In other words, it's like a break even for
ad spend. Yep.
Yeah. Then I'd be happy with it. But
beautiful.
But the other thing we're testing is, instead of filling out an application and then qualifying by text message, is we'll just go straight to the whole, like all the details of the program. We tell the pricing, we tell everything, and then submit an application to get on the phone. So we skip the text message part because we gave them all the info. And the only reason they're applying is because they got the money, they want this, they know everything about it, and then they go on the sign up call.
Are you getting
different ways to do
any
that?
takes on it?
What's that?
Are you getting any takes on it?
So that's what we're working on. We had this landing page where we were sending cold traffic directly to the apprentice offer, because we thought, oh man, it's such a great offer. Let's just send them directly to the offer.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
You know. So the idea is, well, what if we just put this multi-page pre-sale site in front of the offer?
Totally. Right.
You know, and then run cold traffic through to that. But even then, if they fill out the app, one of the questions on there is, do you have the $7,500 fee? And people still apply and they say no. And so we just kick them back automatically and then send them to the downsell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people don't have money for a program, but they have money for, right, quitting their job. They have money for staying back home and cutting their
going out drinking on the weekends.
Right. No, well, what I'm trying to say is people don't buy products, they buy outcome.
That's right.
When you tell someone, hey, do you have money for a program? No, I don't have money for another program. Right. So people buy outcome, they don't buy products, which is why in our messaging, a lot of time when we're going back and forth over text message or email or live chat, we get people's currencies to ask them like, what has you reaching out for help? Why is it now the right time for you? And then we take that and then mirror it back in the entire sales conversation. We almost never bring up the product. We don't even use, hey, do you have any questions about program? No. We say, do you have any questions about your currency, whatever that is? Hey, did you have any questions about getting more deals so you can quit your job? We never, because when you talk about the program, where is their now focus on the program?
Tune out.
Yeah, it's like no one wants a program. But so that's awesome. We're getting close to the end here. So, but you said you wanted to talk about the right message at the right time. So I'd love to hear more about your take on this.
Yeah, there's a marketing friend of mine, Gary Henderson, great guy. You guys should check him out. But his whole thing is right message to the right audience at the right time. And, he's not the only one out there. There's company, web apps now, I think one called Right Message, and Typeform, I think, is kind of playing into this as well, and Intercom and all those guys. But the whole idea is like, obviously, if you just say the same thing to everybody, you're going to get so much results. But if you can tailor your message and segment your audience, slice and dice them, 1,000 ways, you're going to make that much more out of them. You see what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, my early days getting into the online marketing space, I worked with Ryan Levesque for like 2-3 years together and built a really big business. And at the core of what we do is segmentation at the top of the funnel. So when someone opts in, we have questions in there, like a quiz that they go through and they basically pre-select, hey, what's your number one biggest challenge right now? What are you using right now as alternative? And then we take all that data and pass it on to our email autoresponder sequence or to the sales page, and we personalize our messaging. We 80-20 of course. We don't so like 80% of the messages the same, just 20% personalization. And dude, I mean, right? So it's as close as it gets to having a live salesperson talking to you. Because really what we're doing with online marketing is just scaling a live salesperson, right?
Yes.
So taking that live salesperson conversation and translate it as much as we can with our funnels and whatnot. And the more we can personalize things and speak directly to the different people or different pockets or different segments on our in our audience, the higher our conversions is going to be. So how are you using that right now? So are you doing any segmentation right now?
Yeah. So what we do is we have an app that actually taps into their webcam and scans their retina so that we know exactly who this person is. That
CIA kind of thing?
No, it's from that movie Minority Report. I don't know if you ever saw that. The guy is like, Tom Cruise is like walking down the shopping mall and all these banner ads pop up and they scan who he is and they show an ad just for him.
Crazy.
that's what we're trying to do, without being
Wow.
creepy like that.
Wow.
I mean, that's the idea, right? We're not there yet. I don't think we're
Okay.
there, or I'm
Yeah.
not there anyway. Maybe somebody is, but
So tell me,
yeah,
I'm
no,
intrigued. So obviously this is a joke, but like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you freaked me out. It's like, is he now like scanning my face? Block the cam. Um,
yeah,
so no,
yeah,
that's cool, dude. And so my last question to you is about traffic channels. Obviously, channels change every day, policies gets updated, more competition. The heydays of Facebook ads where you can get clicks for pennies on the dollar is gone.
yeah,
And they're more stricter on direct response marketing and claims and shutting down accounts.
yeah.
They don't talk to you even, or customer support. So tell them a little bit about the traffic channels. Is Facebook your main traffic source, or what's going on?
Yeah, Facebook is our main source right now. And I mean, if I'm being really honest, it's our only source other than we do some retargeting on GDN and that sort of thing. But that's very small compared to what we spend on Facebook. And that's the kind of thing that kind of keeps me up at night a little bit is like, they
Yeah.
banned crypto guys. What if they come in and
Yep.
ban real estate
Totally.
guys?
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
out of business unless you got a
They
backup
pull the
plan.
rug.
So I was just talking to another marketing friend of mine before this call and talking about how like, Facebook, in this guy's opinion, all the traffic you get on Facebook is essentially warm traffic. Like, yeah, we talk about it's cold, but if you look at the big picture, it's actually fairly warm traffic because you got all these lookalike audiences and that sort of
Mm,
thing,
mm,
right? So they're showing ads to people who have already indicated an interest in ads
mm,
like yours, right? So all that
mm.
sort of thing. Compare that to like going to, GDN or Taboola or Outbrain and all
Mm.
those sort of things. That's cold. Like that's like mass market stuff. So how do you speak to those people in an effective way to get them into your funnel and
Right.
let your multi-page pre-sale or your content filter them out, right?
Mm.
So that's the thing that's on my mind lately is how do I, wean myself off of Facebook, not because I don't want to use Facebook, but because I don't want to be, that's my only thing. And
Mm-hmm.
Perry Marshall talks about this.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever read his book, 80/20 Sales and
80/20.
Marketing,
Yep.
dude, that I read that book like once a year. Like I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's on my bookshelf right back there. So,
Yeah, he was on the
but
24-hour live stream with Rich
yeah,
Sheffen a couple of days ago.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so one of the things he talks about is, obviously we got to harness 80/20, but if you, and you want to like do multiple versions of that. So like 80/20 of the 80/20 of the
Yep.
80/20, right?
Yep.
The problem is if you go too far down that hole. So for example, then you just start saying that, okay, this one traffic source, for example, Facebook is like the 99-1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to do that thing. The problem is now you've got a single point of failure in your whole
Yep.
system,
Totally.
right? So you still got to diversify.
Okay.
So 80/20, but still diversify.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what's the range of what you're spending on Facebook right now? Like, 10 to 50,000, 50,000 to 100,000 a month.
Yeah. It kind of goes up and down. We're anywhere from 20 to 30,000.
Okay. And so your goal is to break even. Do you have like 7-day, like the ROAS, like return on ad spend? Do you like, so what's your cash flow, or like, how do you manage your ad spend?
Yeah. So we look at, I check in on the
Especially you don't have a
ads,
front end, you don't have a
right?
front end offer. So it's
Right.
like you go
Our
deep.
front end is our high ticket thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the scary part. Like, when we were just starting out, there's a lag time between when you put money out on ads and then you get it back in revenue,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
But, that's why you just, you start slowly. You don't start at 30 grand a month,
Of
obviously.
course.
So, but then you grow and grow and grow. And I mean, like if you had told me a year ago, we'd be at 30 grand a month, I'd be like, wow, really? Like, no way. How could we do this? Like, cause we were only spending 10 back then, you know what I mean? But
Right.
it just kind of keeps growing. And I just look at a couple of KPIs, some of the leading indicators, obviously cost
Yep.
per lead
Yep.
and then cost per call, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But, cause I know that if I can get somebody through the funnel onto the phone we're going to close them 20 to 30% of the time.
Mm. And what is that life cycle like? So like from a click to close,
Yeah.
what is that time frame
So,
typically? Like 50 days, 60 days? What are you
yeah,
looking at?
I
Or
mean,
your
the
ROI?
whole, like if we jumped up ad spend today, we would see
Mm-hmm.
an influx of leads, but we wouldn't see an influx of applications for another week.
Mm.
And then after that, we wouldn't see an influx of sales for like 3 more weeks sometimes.
Wow.
So call it a month or more before
Wow.
you can see the effect. That was the frustrating and challenging part, is like, you know, you do this thing where you scale up your ads and you're like, is this thing going to work? And we won't know for a month.
Right. Especially
Meanwhile,
if you're
money's
testing
going
in the
out the
funnel.
door.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're testing anything inside of the funnel, like also this gives you, because you want to tie it back to conversions. Do you have like offline conversions all set up and like tracked in Facebook? Because there's only 28-day
Yeah.
window, right? And then you lose that tracking.
Yeah. So we track our stats globally on our own Excel sheet,
Okay, you
and
don't
then
use
also
like
in the
Wicked
Ads Manager,
Reports or
obviously.
something? Do you use
What's that?
Wicked Reports or like some tracking
Dude, it's
software?
manual.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. I looked into like all that stuff, and I was like, let me just keep doing it like this for now. Maybe there's a better option someday, but
Yeah.
you know, my hands are and eyes are on the numbers almost every day, and I think that's what it takes to like get the thing up and running. Eventually,
Totally.
you delegate that, obviously, but I'm not there
Nothing
yet.
like a good old spreadsheet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah,
You always go
yeah,
back to it. Well,
yeah.
beautiful. Is there anything else that I should have asked you, but I haven't, that you think would be important for the audience to know about what you've got going on and scaling, you know, to 7 figures and multiple 7 figures with cold traffic? Because you don't do JV traffic, you don't do like, you know, it's primarily cold traffic. You don't do outbound prospecting, channel partners, all of that, right? You focus
Right.
on primarily your cold traffic.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Facebook ad into our funnel, whichever funnel they come
JV, nothing.
into.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, as long as we're capturing their email at a decent cost per lead, let's say this new funnel I'm testing doesn't convert, they're still in the system. They're going to get recycled through every promo and offer we ever have. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So I forgot what I was going to say, but
While you're remembering,
yeah,
what kind of role does email play in that funnel? Do
I think it's
you,
important.
yeah?
I think
So
it's
you
super
guys,
important.
what's
Yeah.
the frequency of emails that you guys send?
I mean, it starts out like once a day,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes 2 times a day, and then it'll slow down. Like we've got like this big long nurture sequence that's like 6 months long, and
Wow.
it'll start out pretty frequent and then kind of go once a
Okay.
week and that sort of thing. And then, you know, inside that time frame, and by the way, if they get to the end of that, we just restart it
Mm.
because I'm lazy. But
Okay.
interspersed through there, there's other like time sensitive promos that we'll do, and we just run them evergreen.
Yep.
So like a countdown sequence to this or that or whatever,
Yep.
and that sort of thing. But I think email is like, I mean, that's, you know, it's like they always say that the fortune's in the follow up. That's where the email comes
Yeah.
in. You know,
Beautiful.
most sales that we get are not, you know, a guy comes, watches our webinar, signs up the next day for our
Mm.
program. Is most of the time is not, that does not happen.
Mm.
So you got to be able to follow up with them. And our sales guys do an awesome job with manual follow up with the guys that they've spoken to on the phone.
Mm.
Plus they're getting all the emails from our system, you know,
Mm.
in that whole sequence. So we just stay in front of them. And I remember hearing Frank Kern talk about, you know, I know I keep mentioning him. I just saw him at Funnel Hacking Live though,
Yeah.
and sat with him at his table. But, you know, I remember him before talking about like, you know, somebody had asked him, you know, how often should I be emailing people? And he said, dude, if you're not getting regular complaints from people about you emailing them
Right.
too much, you're not doing it enough. You know?
Every time you want to make money, right? Send emails
Yeah.
whenever you want money.
Yeah.
Well, Blair, this has been an awesome interview, at least for me. I hope the viewers also extracted some gold nuggets in there. I think you're doing some unique stuff. you're bringing in, anyway, I haven't seen a pre-sale funnel yet in the industry. So it's interesting to see
That's
how
part of the
you're
reason
going.
I'm doing it, is because nobody else is doing it. That's the whole point. You got to be different,
Beautiful. And
right?
right, it's being different. It's all about being different, being better, right? People, or at least the pattern, right? They get used to the same pattern and they mentally opt out for like a webinar. They
Yep.
know what's coming. They know the drill, right? So you come up with a different funnel or modality, and you just capture that lizard brain, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
something new, something shiny, something different.
Yep.
Beautiful, dude. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, which I don't have a name yet for. Just conversations with superstars like yourself, and I'm having a blast talking to you. And I hope we can, maybe we can do a follow up in a couple of months when you've run enough traffic through that funnel and talk about the learnings
Yeah.
from that offer. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how that offer works out for you guys. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on the show, and God bless.
Yeah. No, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Beautiful.